And we are live with the great and powerful Cameron Brown
What's
with
up,
a
Sean? How
K.
you doing?
Oh, I'm
With the
living the
K.
dream. Living with the dream. How are you?
Good, man. You still got mud on you.
I got fuck buddy. I came right from work. Yeah. This is this isn't a special shirt. It's fucking sweat and mud. Yeah, it's cool. I got a 6,000 board foot house I'm working on right now, but it's that's outside of everything else. So I do all my contract work and the kids and everything, and then this house. So I'm just trying to fit it in where I can. Yeah,
So how many guys do you have working for you?
just me.
Just you?
It's just me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got my cousin comes in for assists. My uncle actually spotted screws and did some sanding and that kind of stuff on this site. Like, do you sand in between
No,
coats?
no, we scrape, but
Yeah,
we don't
okay.
sand.
Yeah.
No, I never have because I hated how the dust would get on the wall then, and then you would coat with your box and it would like kind of ball up almost
Yeah.
and cause you problems there. So I just go around and scrape all my heavy lap marks. It's very rare that we have a heavy edge. You know, if
Yeah.
somebody runs the box wrong, we'll have a heavy edge. You might sand it out with your hand, but we never bring out a pole sander or anything in between coats. No.
Yeah, you see, I've always done it. So
Really?
yeah, I need to settle down with it though. I do a lot of stuff that takes a lot of time, and then for some reason, the carpenter in me thinks that I do a better job because of that. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's true. I going around and scraping is probably the right answer.
No, how long have you been doing it? Like just
Finishing,
the finishing part of it.
um, like kind of technically 10 years. Like a long time ago, I was a hand finisher.
Hmm.
But on the tools, I probably like collectively have maybe 8 months in total, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But the nice part about the way that I'm doing it is I've got all the time in the world, right?
Mhm.
Like when I take on a project, I typically ask for 10 working days, something like that. So if that's 3,000 board feet, you got tons of time to just,
Yeah.
take your time, do it properly. When I see guys like Josh, like High Cut, when he's running with the tools, and it's like, holy shit, you're probably the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're moving pretty good. Hey, how long have you been doing it?
Um, I started my company in 2019. And at that
Nice.
point, I'd been doing it for like a year and a half. So,
Okay.
um, what, 4.5, 5 years now? About
And with auto tools.
now with auto tools. No, I started out hand taping. Everything was by
Hmm.
hand when I started
You
out.
should. Everybody should.
Yeah, you've got to know how to hand tape before you can run the tools. Uh,
Totally.
but in a sense, the tools do help you learn how to finish too. I've learned that it's easier
Oh
to teach
yeah.
somebody with the box and give them that visual aspect of how it's supposed to look. And
Hmm.
then you get them on the hand tools, touching up behind the boxes. I think that's a lot easier to teach somebody. Um,
There, there was always that argument of wiping behind the boxes.
yeah,
Where do you stand on that?
I don't know. I don't like behind my boxes. I think
No.
a lot of those guys are from like I want to say the UK, and
Okay.
they're using like Quickset in the boxes. I don't know
Holy
this to be
shit.
true. I
Okay.
I read this in a comment section, but they're running like powdered mud rather than the ready mix that we've got. And
Right.
it you almost have to wipe down behind it,
Just,
just because of the pox and I'm not sure what the other reasons are. I don't know if it swells, kind of like how
yeah.
Durabond does. But no, I don't think if you've got your mud mixed up right, I don't think that you should have to wipe down behind the box. If you've got your box adjusted right, it's leaving the right crown on there to where you don't need to wipe it down. If you wipe it down, you're just pulling it out at that point. Is my thought.
And that, in a technical sense, is my thought too. Is it like if
Now
you're,
I do fill in that little void behind the box where you take off out of the angle. It doesn't fill in that quarter inch, we'll say an eighth of an inch
mhm.
where the trowel bar sits. I'll go back and touch those up.
So
Now the angle head will fill it in,
yeah,
but there's some points like the first coat I'll touch it up. Now when I go over with my 12-inch box, because I 10-inch box and the 12-inch box.
yeah,
So the 10-inch box I'll fill in behind it, take that little extra time to touch up
hmm,
because it's a deeper void on your first coat. But
right.
when you go over it with the 12-inch box, it's just leaving not very much, enough to where the angle head will fill it in on that coat and it comes out mint.
Yeah, once you've set that base with the 10, you're really just talking about a skim at the peak of it, right?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there's moments where when I'm doing my bevels. So what you're talking about there when you come back and touch it up, my mud's a little bit thicker anyways. That's just the way that I do it. So I almost always have Christmas trees.
Mhm.
But I come back with the tomahawk and just do that first, maybe like 4 inches or whatever, like you would.
Yeah, you can almost take that mud from the Christmas trees and just work it back into that
It's
void.
exactly what I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exactly what I
That's
do.
the one point where the Christmas trees come in handy.
Yeah, I find if the mud is too thin, I don't know if it's my size or if I'm fucking pushing way too hard, but it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of sweet spot for me where I almost am kind of fighting it a little bit. But then like we said, like it leaves the Christmas trees that I fill the voids in with. And
Now, what about, are you mixing any soap with your mud? Have you ever
oh,
messed with
totally.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use no pock it's not it's I'm guessing it's baby shampoo because it's all the same. It's just scent free, but whatever's in that's what I use. That's the only thing I ever used.
See, I've never used the no puck. It's
Yeah,
not available where I'm at.
that's
I've
why.
seen it before. I've thought about ordering it, but then I thought if I order it, I'm gonna like it, and then we have to consistently order it by the case.
Well, and it's like 4 pounds or something. So shipping that, it's going to be expensive.
Wow, I haven't even looked into that. But
Mhm.
no, soap is readily available for me. Lemon scent is what we stick with. I don't know if the
You
scent really makes
fucking
a
got
difference.
scented mud.
Yep. Yeah, you come into my job and it smells like Ajax.
Hey, man, it just smells awful clean in here, and you're like,
Yeah,
that's what we provide.
work looks clean and smells clean.
Yeah, yeah. That I don't know about so no pock is they say it's for fish eyes, but
Yeah.
the reason I like it is it lubricates the tools. Like
Mhm.
you know what I mean. Like everything runs smoother. Um, I've I've just never not used it again. You know
Oh
what I
no,
mean?
it's hard to get back after you run the boxes with it. I mean, they just push so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. Now I don't put a ton in. I think it calls for a cap full for every 5 gallons or something, and I'll do like 3/4 of a cap full. I've had it a couple of times where I've almost got it like frothy.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you put water into that mud and then dump that out a couple, whip it a couple days in a row kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like especially when I color my mud. When I run the angle heads, I tint it and
Mm-hmm.
then I can see that it's coated everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll run it again and whatever. Um, but if I'm doing that, like I'm not using a whole ton of mud all the time, so that tinted mud will be mixed probably 3 times before the bucket's empty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like mush. Like I think that's because I've used too much of the no pock. But
Uh-huh.
again, I have no idea. I throw out a lot of mud because I'm just like this looks sloppy. Yeah, it's not bad. I do feel that it is a much smoother, especially with the tubes. When I'm doing that kind of like closets and shit like that, I still use the compound tubes, and
Really?
it comes out with. Oh yeah, well, because I'm enormous and everything else is
Yeah,
big, and
that's true. I
it's
can
just
imagine you have a rough time with small closets. Like I
fuck,
complain about small closets.
it's brutal. Yeah, it's a little brutal. We had one where it was like a 2 layer old. It was like a garage, but they were finishing the top part, and the closet was like 18 inches wide or something stupid. And I went up to go to the top to hit it, and my chest got like it didn't get stuck, but I mean, like if I was pushing it would have. And I was like, oh my God, I literally don't fit in here. So we like got the pole up there, and it was brutal, man.
Yeah, I just went and looked at a job today. It was 10 foot throughout the house, and they had two small closets like that. And the guy said, we went ahead and framed those closets down to 8 foot for you to where you didn't have to work. And I thought, it's a Christmas miracle, you know?
Yeah. Thank you, kind
So
sir.
nobody thinks that far ahead.
That's the nice part about this. The custom carpenter that I work with, this is a house that he's building. So everything's like the walls are square, everything's level. any sort of forethought anywhere has been forethought. Like
That barrel ceiling looks really cool.
it's cool, man. It's
Yeah.
going to be really cool.
In a basement?
That's the whole house, man.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Oh, okay.
sorry. What ceiling are you talking about?
The barrel, it's like in a hallway. It's like a little dome ceiling
Yeah,
barrel
that's
ceiling.
that's as soon as you walk in the front door. That's the opening where that archway is.
Uh-huh.
That archway is from the original house. So they've
Okay.
kind of built everything else out around that. Um, yeah, that ceiling kind of comes up like this, and then it's a big sharp uh
Yeah, it
dome.
looked like it was a little bit odd right there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm like, what do you do? Like, do I just do a bunch of coats of like try and even that out? I think I'll be there for the rest of my life doing that.
I think I'd just leave it as is, tape
I
it as
think
is,
I
and
think that's what we're gonna do. And then if it looks stupid after prime, then I'll work
it
on it.
looked like
But
it was uniform on both sides.
it is. Oh yeah. Like it everything's been done really well. It's just one of those things you look at and you're like, it's not a dome and it's not like an archway. It's like
Kind of
it's
looks like
not
an old
consistent, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a lot
Yeah.
of stuff like that down in New Mexico. Like that everything was rounded down there. Rounded corner bead, rounded doorways.
I
Like I
was
was
gonna
telling Nick, I said, man, back home I get like 2 jobs a year with bullnose bead, and I complain, I upcharge. And down here, every job is bullnose.
but why do you think that is?
It's just everything's different down there, man. The whole cult, the design, the old stucco houses down there. It's just so,
Yeah.
man. It's a really cool area.
The he had somebody on one of the YouTube pages and they were like adding sand to it and spraying a whole house with it.
Mm-hmm.
The fresco.
Yeah.
And then they would come back with like a finer sand in it and then that's what was making it just like stucco, right? Like the granules fit in a certain spot and then it's flat, but none of it's actually flat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's saying that they're getting like they're doing houses in a couple of days and
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
everything's colored and
Oh,
yeah.
with a sprayer, man, you could do that stuff so quick.
Yeah.
Now I don't know about the base. I know that he can spray the sand, but I
Okay.
feel like you could spray the second coat on the regular mud too, because the
Yeah.
base coat with regular colored mud it has to be heavier, and spraying it through a sprayer you've got to thin it down too much. But I wonder
Oh,
if on the second coat when you're doing that skim, if you couldn't spray it still. I don't know if it, I don't know if you know how much those Graco sprayers are, but they aren't easy to come by.
no, the Mark
The
twos or
average
Mark
guy,
five or
yeah,
whatever.
Mark
Yeah.
5, yeah, you're looking at, I think they're like 5 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be the number where, every day, every little component of the taping stuff's about $500 until you get to this stage, it's
Yeah,
2,500.
it's
And
like
then when you get it,
that's the next big step.
yeah. What kind of sander are you using?
I've got the Plain X2, and then I also just bought Black Friday the DeWalt cordless, the battery powered one.
Yep.
CSR had it on sale, and I went and picked it up because I run all DeWalt tools anyway. So I
Hmm.
already had all the batteries to run it. And I heard where Brad Hanna said on the Flat Butts podcast that I think he said that he liked the DeWalt.
That's the reason I
Um,
bought mine. Yeah.
yeah.
You use it like a sanding pole. It's
I went I don't do my sanding. Wes does all of our sanding for us.
nice.
But I did sand smooth sealing job there a few weeks ago, and I used the Plain X tool and I loved it. Like
Yeah.
before I would always sand all my ceilings by hand. Just
Oof.
I think it was just me being stubborn more than anything. Um and I will never sand anything by hand again. Like it'll be
No,
power sander, vac hooked up.
there's
No,
no need for it,
no.
right? Like that's the when I was so I obviously asked Brad about it. And I was like, talk to me about sanders because I was about to buy one. And he was like, you can go with the big ones, they're nice, whatever. But this thing doesn't do all the sanding. It does all the legwork.
Mhm.
Like all of your detail stuff's all by hand. At least for me it is. And then when I'm running the sander, I've got 220 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's good, man. It gets heavy a little bit.
Uh-huh. I really like with the festival the light around it. the light around the head, you can see everything. I mean, I'm pretty well spotlighted everything with the Festool.
Hmm.
It just took as far as like sponging. I had a big garage ceiling, and
Yeah.
sponging across the field, it was nothing more than just going over it with a light and looking for scratches. There wasn't
Right.
anything. It was done. So
Really?
I do want to look into somehow putting an LED ring light around the DeWalt sander head.
They sell them. They
Do
like
they?
it's standalones, but I don't know how it works. Must be like a little battery pack or something. But
Yeah, I've seen
yeah,
other people do it online. It's just a matter of figuring out how they do it.
totally.
Unfortunately, right now I'm not doing much of the sanding, so
Yeah, yeah. I hate the sanding, but I feel like it makes you a better taper. Like
oh yeah, for
when
sure.
you know what I mean? When you're sanding all the stuff that you put in too heavy, you're just like, God damn it.
Definitely. That's before I got on my own finishing. When I was still working for a guy, I was picking up a bunch of sanding jobs, and that's where I learned a lot, going over other finishers' work and figuring out what I didn't like to sand, and
Yep.
what made my job easier, what made my job harder.
Where are we going to be really careful?
Yeah.
Yeah, the that three-way trick that I saw on Instagram, like where you're this way, that like three different directions in and out.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that. So my corners were atrocious, like terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
Or you would do, one side or whatever, but that took forever, right? It's the
Drawing
tools
back.
were absolutely game changer. I quit taping. I
And
was done.
how much have you learned just from Instagram or TikTok?
Everything, all of
Yeah,
it,
right.
all of it,
The
literally.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned Brad a lot just because I know him personally. I try not to ask people questions like, how do you go and look? And then if you have a specific question between a couple of things that you've seen, right, that's where you communicate with somebody, like in my opinion, where
Yeah.
you've kind of done a little bit of the legwork and you're like, okay, what are the different muds matter? Like things like that. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to ingest all that content, right? There's no way I'd be taping if it wasn't for Instagram. There's no way.
Oh, I know. That's the same with me. Like, I got off my own. I was doing everything by hand, and then I'd get on Instagram. I'd see these guys running the flat boxes and just coating things so much faster. And the big thing
Yeah.
for me is I was running the trial. Like I learned with the Hawking trial and ceilings. My shoulder was getting wore out. Like I had a bad
Well, you're
rotator
way up
cuff.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bad rotator cuff from sports anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
trial
You're fucking ripped, eh? It's like,
I'll try and keep up with myself.
I was like, Jesus Christ. Okay.
The body's the most important tool.
Oh, yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
keep it in check, man.
It's very true, man. It's very true.
And you learn a lot from the gym too. I mean, as far as you can translate it to life, man. Don't you don't progress at the gym by not showing up or showing up and giving 50%. You've got to go and you've got to push yourself to failure every set, every day, or you're not going to get any better.
Yeah. Showing up with a smile on your face to do shitty stuff. I don't know what else is dedication, right? Well, who is it? Mike Tyson said the dedication is doing things that you hate like you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The gym is like that, but then you do love it, right? That's
that ice bath that Nick got me into. That first time I did it, man, it about sent me into a meltdown.
Yeah.
An asthma attack. I really learned who I was. I got to know myself in those 5 minutes in the ice.
Well, I was like, it's cold enough up here. I'm gonna just stick something like a trough in the backyard, and that'll be cold, right? And then I'm trying to remember who I was listening to, but they were like, just start with a cold shower. Like have your shower and then cut the hot water off. And the first time I did that, I was like, oh
yeah, taking your breath away.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing this. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is what everyone's doing. It's just like stand up. But it does. It wakes you up, man. That's I would love the ice bath. I can't even, I don't fit in a bathtub. I'm too big, right? So it's a couple of times.
How tall are you?
6'3".
6'3", damn.
Yeah.
Like pick 8 foot 3 ways from the floor.
But yeah, I've got a 2-step that I'm working off, and we're doing 9-foot ceilings.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah, like I was doing T-bar off a 2-step. Yeah, it's not bad. but the amount of times you bump your head off of shit, it's
Yeah,
it's a
sure.
little bit of give and take.
You doing
Um,
still? You
no,
doing no?
no. I thought about it. So in that far room that I'm doing now, they've got two 54-inch sheets. So that next one, I can't even box that off the scaffolding because the scaffolding wants to move.
Yeah, I
So
saw that.
I was like, this is why I would have stilts. Like this is
Mhm.
the first time ever that I've been like, if I had stilts, this would be easier. It's just never come up. Like
Are you running nail spotters?
yep. Not on
Nice.
this site. My uncle was there doing it. It's I don't know, like he's retiring in like 2 years, and he's like done what you've asked him to do and shown back up, going, what's next? You're like, okay, I don't know. Go hit all the nails again. It's he's a firefighter.
Uh-huh.
So it's like run, 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 run. He's in great shape. It's yeah.
Huh. I've
Yeah, I
had
like
my dad's come to work with me a couple of times when he wasn't working or whatever, and he's the same
yeah.
way. He'd come the next day. How can I help you?
Yep. Yeah, the nail spotter, I only have a 2.5. Um, because it's not creating a crown, it's just flat. Everything that I kind of looked up on it was it doesn't like to go from that to the 3 is just aesthetics.
Hmm.
Like if you're just gonna clean it up or whatever.
Yeah, I've got both of them. The three's easier to run.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time because it's wider, you have less tendency to get off and leave an edge. Um,
Right.
Most of the time though, I'll first coat by hand and then
Yeah.
second and third with a 3 inch. Um, if it's a big house and we want to get both boxes running, both nail spotters running, we'll run the 2 and the 3 inch. But most of the time, it's not worth dirtying two of them.
Like just to have them both running at the same time.
Yeah, like if we
Yeah.
get in a
Okay.
big
Yeah.
house,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Get twice as much done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wicked. I do my first ones. So I go around with a screwdriver in my pocket and 90,
Mhm.
and I do all of the first hits with that. So
Okay.
so you go over everything with the 90, and then like I don't know if screw fucking not being in the wall is a thing down there, but it is a thing up here.
It depends on who we follow.
Hundreds. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, these guys weren't too bad. They came in and killed this house. Like I think maybe there's I don't know 12 or so butt joints in this 6,000 board feet. Like it's unbelievable. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah. No, most of
Uh,
the time, we're getting close to the time.
yeah,
Most of the
yeah,
time, we're following good hangers.
yeah.
There's So I still subcontract for another company, and he's got 3 crews of hangers, and then I think there's 5 crews of finishers. And
Wow,
just recently, I've been picking up more of my own work, and we're still working together as far as like I'm hiring his hanging crews, and
nice
like if things get slow for me, I'll pick up a house for him.
for sure.
Um,
But
that's
you're almost an extension of that company. Like you're on your own, but you're still working together.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
wicked. There's
Uh-huh.
nothing wrong with that.
No, it's working out good for now. I mean, this is like the first big transition as far as like the most work that I've picked up. Like right now, I'm scheduled out for the next 5 weeks,
Nice.
and I haven't told him that I don't need a house for the next, which I haven't needed a house from him from 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
But no, Rodney's been great. He's been cool to work with. I mean, he's not pushing me. He's let me do my own thing and helping me out as far as hanging the houses for me. I don't like to hang board. I like to finish. That's where my money's at. I
That
know
is where the money's at. Yeah.
I know how to hang. I'm equipped to hang drywall, but I know that if I can get somebody else there hanging it, I can
Yeah.
be off finishing something, making twice what I would be hanging
Oh,
and saving my
totally.
body.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good time to take a break here.
Yeah.
Be right back.